Hi again. For those of you just joining us, my name is Julie, Customer Success Manager here at mTuitive. Welcome to session 3 of our 2021 virtual event. Whether you've attended some or all of the sessions today, we thank you again for coming. Next up, mTuitive's Rob Dean and Eric Nowicki will discuss the new surgical synoptic standards from the Commission on Cancer and how these protocols will directly impact departments at your facilities beyond surgery, especially pathology.
Thank you so much, Julie, and thanks everyone for joining us today. Hopefully everyone can see me okay. All right. My name is Rob Dean, and I'm a project coordinator and marketing director for mTuitive, and I will be joined by my colleague Eric Nowicki, who's a clinical knowledge engineer, and we were talking about the new cancer surgery standards program that is coming out from American College of Surgeons Commission on Cancer. It's basically the new synoptic reporting format where they're going to capture specific fields and in a similar synoptic format to what is currently happening in the CAP. And part of the accreditation and auditing done by Commission on Cancer will be based on following these synoptic guidelines and structures. And here you can see an example of one of the measures that are being captured and tracked. And that one is particularly for the breast cancer. And it's just something that they've been developing now for multiple years. And they have been able to create about 6 standards so far. But they are looking to expand to about 60 plus disease sites. They've already revised a few, and they are looking to, we already know there's going to be some increase in January as well. And part of the auditing and accreditation will involve an 80% to 20% reporting ratio, which means that 80% of the random audit reports they look at has to follow along with these synoptic formats and standards. Also, as they go along, they can add required elements from groups like the AJCC, CAP, NAPRC, and NAPBC, amongst others. So, as Joint Commission and others put forth things they want to add in for standards, those will be adopted too and rolled into it. So similar again to ECCs, there will be revisions and updates and changes yearly as they continue to expand, and it's going to, again, expand to over 60 disease sites. For some of you, you might have heard of this already. COC has done a bunch of webinars, and if you're interested in learning more about this after our event, I'd suggest going to their website. They have a bunch of events where they can answer questions and delve more into this. But we ourselves, if you've been to our virtual event last year, we talked about this. Originally, it was supposed to come out around 2020 and 2021, and then things got a bit complicated, as we all know. So obviously, with that shift in resources and focus and energy, something had to be pushed back slightly, but it is still ongoing now, and it is set to begin shortly. But if you are not a surgeon, if you are not cancer informatics, if you're not in health IT, why should you care about it? Firstly, for the pathology group among us, if you're a pathologist or a lab director, what have you, there are 2 standards that actually will be looked at in the pathology report, and that will be part of the tracking and accreditation and auditing as well. And another thing to keep in mind is, even if you're not the surgeon or informatics, the people that are receiving these post-operative reports, whoever may be the radiologist, oncologist, general practitioners, patients themselves maybe, some pathologists, whomever, need to get accustomed to seeing this in the new format and making sure where to look at these fields. And also, for anyone here from IT or has to work with these sort of systems, there's going to have to be a lot of transmission of data back and forth to avoid redundancy and to also make sure that this information is being captured in the right place within those systems. As you can see here, these are the procedures that are currently set up to be tracked before the large expansion. The first 4 are all going to be found in the operative report, while the last two are going to be in the pathology system, the pathology reports itself. So for the TME and the pulmonary resection, those actually will be looked at. Those standards involving nodes and margins will be looked at in the pathology report and not the operative report like the other four. The good news is if you are attending this and you're already using CAPE form, then you are able to already have these standards in place. If you're using our TME or pulmonary, you are capturing this information already. So for a pathologist that is using CAPE form or for pathology, you're able to basically not worry about it and know that you have these being recorded. But it's still important for you to know that those sections will be a part of this new initiative. As noted, there is still those four that will be in the operative report. You can see kind of some of these data elements right there. Basically, the COC will come in as they do with most of their auditing and accreditation, and they'll choose a random set of reports that adhere to that particular disease site or procedure, and they will see how many of them adhere to the CSSP standards. As this is going along, that first up will be in 2022, your facility has to have a plan in place saying how you will implement this. If you're using a specific solution from a different vendor, if you're building it, however, and you have to basically present that to Commission on Cancer saying how you're going to do this. It also will need to have 70% minimum participation by 2023, and that'll increase every year. Again, similar to other standards and initiatives when it comes to reporting. So they'll end up having to be, something that we grow also along with the expansion of the various disease sites and procedures. And so that's something to keep in mind, is that there's going to be a large boon of all of these procedures, and there's going to be additional fields. There's going to have to be a specific type of formatting. You're also going to have to adjust, like I said, the workflow in IT, in working with different surgeons and other physicians. And you're also going to have to prepare for how to present this information to auditors in order to maintain your accreditation. The good news, quick plug, is that mTuitive can manage all content changes and new procedures, versioning and updates, just like we currently do with the CAPE form, and also with the Canadian Partnership Against Cancer in OpNote already. As we kind of talked about, I just want to dip into OpNote, which is that it's been around actually in theory since the co-founding of mTuitive. So our co-founder, Dr. O'Toole, basically always envisioned moving synoptic reporting not just in pathology, but also in surgery. And so we worked and developed that along the way. And our first venture about a decade ago, as Colin mentioned, was in ambulatory surgery centers. After that, we then ended up in getting the RFP, awarded the RFP from Nova Scotia for the Canadian Partnership Against Cancer, and that has since expanded into multiple other specialties and capturing other data that way, and being able to help them with their own synoptic needs. We then moved into the vascular space, and we're able to help that specific need there as generating images or being able to track very specific data fields. And then now we are currently working on the CSSP editions, and we have those already authored. And as mentioned, we are already sending them out to or working with multiple sites to incorporate them in their reporting. And then that allows them to run certain analytics for research, for, again, presentations, what have you. So this is just a look at kind of the overall workflow from that would happen with the CSSP, in this case using OpNote. We want to take as much information from EHRs or EMRs and populate it that way, because the main thing is to reduce redundancy and to make sure to improve all sorts of efficiency, because we know the time is is tantamount for surgeons to basically, their entire practice is reliant on how much time they have to see other patients, to be able to speak with them, to treat them accordingly. So we basically allow them in our system to complete this as quickly as possible using information from other systems, creating different ways of entering the information, whether it's single choice, multiple select, logic branching, and calculations are also involved. Again, similar to the work we already did in other OpNote customers, as well as with our CAP eForm. And this is just an example of the PDF that's generated. This is depending on the EHR or wherever reports end up. This could be how it looks. It can also be changed. We can customize the views as need be, and we are also able to change it and also depending on the audience. So if you want to send it a specific way to, let's say, the radiologist or a pathologist, so they only have to see the pertinent information, we can modify that as well, including modifying it by specialty and procedure. And this is just an example of the analytics we're able to pull out from OpNote. This is actually from the CPAC information, and you're able to see that we are capturing this information that can be run for all sorts of research purposes, initiatives, if it's local at the hospital, or if it's a larger state-run initiative, whatever it is, we're able to capture that information in structured format and then compare it and work with you to basically produce this in the easiest way possible so you can actually make an action item. And with that, I will turn it over to Eric Nowicki so he can give a demonstration of the CSSP in OpNote.
Thanks, Rob. I'm just going to share my screen quickly. And can you see that okay?
Yep, you can see the dashboard.
Terrific, thank you. Hi, everybody. I'm Eric Nowicki, a clinical knowledge engineer at mTuitive. I really did want to thank everybody for attending our virtual event today. We really do appreciate the support. Thank you. So today's demonstration is on OpNote, which, like Rob was saying, is mTuitive's electronic post-operative reporting application, which combined with our subscription-based content management service should provide cancer centers with the means to comply with these new Commission on Cancer Surgery Standards program protocols. Now, most of the operative reports are going to be made up of two main sections: a surgeon's traditional AMA, ASA operative note, and then the Commission on Cancer synoptic data elements. Keep in mind that the operative reporting template each individual surgeon uses can be customized further to meet their individual workflow demands. So it's just not one set format for everyone. Today's demonstration will be for a colon resection launched from within the Cerner Millennium Power Chart environment, which pulling up on the screen right now, utilizing their Smart on Fire application, which is now available through the Cerner Code program in their App Store. But it's important to acknowledge that mTuitive is EHR agnostic. We currently have OpNote interfaces available with most EHRs, Meditech, Cerner through the Code program, obviously, Epic through their App Orchard, Allscripts developed program, McKesson as well. But we're always looking for new partners to build out integrated solutions with. So if you look here in the Power Chart environment, we're going to be landed right on a patient here. Patient 3, mTuitive is their name. But the important things to look at over in the table of contents is documentation tab. This is where the final output is going to live once I sign it out, which I'll take you through in a second. And then the launch mTuitive link. The important things to pay attention to there is that this is a separate application we're going to be running within Cerner, but you're not going to have to log in. You're not going to have to look for a patient. It's all going to be, all usernames and authentications already going to be done through the Code program in the back of the house. And we're going to be able to launch OpNote right there in Cerner, which is fabulous. mTuitive is recommending all surgeons use our application to do the entire operative note. The advantages there is you're going to have a single source of truth as opposed to having one narrative report and then a separate synoptic report. So we're going to start a new report here, and each individual user is going to have access to all of the algorithms. But what I've done here is I've starred our favorites. So as of right now, there's 2 breast protocols, which I have built into each one of these into this one report here: the colon resection and then the melanoma excision. And then the defaults, which are below that, would just be those particular algorithms, but with static questions that may be the same from case to case, already pre-populated in. So if you get a feel for how these are going to work, you're going to be able to pre-populate some of that stuff in. So let me take you into one of these quickly here. And there we go. So as you can see up here, I have some different style of fields. These operative reports can be set up as free text. They can be set up as tick box, structured formats, multiple choice, drop-down menus. They're also going to feature logic and calculations built in so that when a surgeon logs into this, they're only going to face the questions that are applicable to that specific procedure. And then, as I was saying before, with the defaulted styled reports, if there are static things that come case to case, like position or the anesthesia they use, the exact type of train, we can also pre-populate that stuff in. Depending on which EHR you're working with, we're also going to have the ability to pre-populate some of those fields. Like for Cerner, for example, we're going to be able to pull in procedure, condition, assistance, and some other information. Good part there is that if a circulator is able to enter those things in perioperatively, when the surgeon goes to do their operative note, they're going to already have that stuff in there and not going to have to waste time doing that again. So I've set this up as a tick box type format for the AMA, ASA type fields, but not every surgeon is going to want to do that. We have surgeons that are interested in continuing working the same way they are, and that's potentially dictating portions of this note. So within the same format, depending on what the surgeon's looking to do, they can just pull down categories like findings, descriptions, and then dictate directly into the application. We have interfaces with Dragon, mModal. You can use the Microsoft one, and yeah, you can still type in there if you want to, or copy from another application and paste it right into there. But the important part that this application has that no other operative reporting application has right now are these synoptic data elements built right into it. So again, you're having your traditional operative note and then the ability to answer those synoptic data elements right after. And again, we have these in the simplest format possible. The content comes directly from the ACS, but we've set it up so that there's logic and calculations built in so that you're only going to have to see and answer questions based on that procedure and then prior answers. So I'll just walk you through this here quickly. And then here's another example of the logic branching. Depending on your answer to this question, you may or may not get more questions to answer. And with synoptic reporting, sometimes you can be tied into a finite list of answers. We have others and custom fields built in at this point. So you can drop whichever response you want into that box. And then the next time you log in, that's going to become one of your favorited responses so that the application is going to learn from the way that you report on these. And again, as you can see, text boxes could pop up depending on an answer. And then these will also be, you can either type into them, they could be interfaced with voice recognition. You could set up popular phrases in Dragon and have them backed into there that way. But so I've walked you through these requirements and then a sample of a dictated note with these AMA, ASA synoptic fields. All these questions could be set up as either required or optional. The caveat there is that a required question must be filled out in order to advance the report. So as you can see, I'm getting a banner at the top here stating that I haven't answered everything. So I'll take that one step further and try to sign out this report. And it's not going to let me, like I was just saying. So we'll just scroll back down through here and look right there in red, one of the requirements I missed. So I took the time to go through all these synoptic data elements, but I may not have completed one question. Well, OpNote's going to know that you didn't do that, and it's not going to let you advance that report. So I filled out that missing question. I have the green banner, and we're going to sign out this note. It's going to give you a quick little overview draft of what I've entered in. As you can see, there's the dictation, the requirements, and then we're going to send that data back to Cerner. Before you get your electronic signature in this outbound reports column here, we should get a notification that Cerner's received this operative note via FHIR. There you go. Report is signed. Completed report via FHIR to Cerner. And then from there, this fully completed operative report is now in the EHR and can be accessed by anybody with access to that patient. I'll go ahead and pull that up for you. And there's our final output. I tried to put a little bit of all our different formats in there for you. As you can see, the perioperative data is in a structured format. And then we have some dictation, and then again, the requirements in a structured format down here. Any of these questions or categories can be set up, but well, not any of them. Any of them besides the requirements can be set up as structured or as dictation boxes. So depending on that individual surgeon's workflow, we're going to be able to accommodate different requests and make OpNote as fluid and flexible as possible to accommodate their needs. Thank you very much. I'm going to pass that back to Rob now to handle the Q&A, but I appreciate you all tuning in to take a look at OpNote today.
If there's any questions, we'll be happy to answer them.
Yes. Hi, Rob. We do have a question. Is the order communication to the laboratory management system with these mandatory questions based on a unique format such as HL7 or FHIR, or is this locally developed? It looks amazing. So thank you for that compliment.
Yes, so let's focus on it looks amazing.
Yep.
No, we use Smart on FHIR. We can also use various SDCs that are being developed and some HL7, but most EHRs right now are using Smart on FHIR. That's kind of the easiest way for us to send those orders and or to communicate between systems. Obviously, like as Eric mentioned, we are vendor agnostic, so we can work with any sort of group that way. So if there's a homegrown solution at the facility, we can figure out the best way of transmitting that information back and forth.
This report already included SNOMED CT in the background?
It can.
I'm sorry. It does? Okay.
You want me to take that, Rob?
Yeah, go ahead.
Sure. No, it does not yet. The American College of Surgeons is looking at, and this is probably a better question for them, but they're looking at coming up with their own language right now for coding these data elements, and they'll have more information on that in the near future. But whatever that is, we'll support it, and it'll be tied to all our data elements.
And something else just to jump on there is that for some of our other versions of OpNote, we are capturing a lot of this various coding, whether it's CPT coding, ICD-10-CA, ICD-10-CM, some quality codes, J codes, and such. So that's something that we can absolutely work with per each user and facility to see what they can capture, what they're interested in capturing, in order to expedite, let's say, billing and coding or whatever other needs they have for these coding purposes.
We have another question. My hospital has its own EHR that we developed. Can OpNote work with that?
Most likely. Obviously, we'd have to take a look at it and make sure, figure out the specifics. So please email support@mtuitive.com and just let us know the information about it. And we'd be happy to set up a meeting to figure out what information we can get, what information we can push out. And, we have worked with we've worked with homegrown systems in other places with pathology and other solutions. So, we should be able to work with it, but it would obviously be on a case-by-case basis that way.
That it works as a standalone application. So
yes.
Independent of any other APLAS or EHR.
Excellent. Thank you. And I don't have any other questions.
All right. Well, I'll then turn it over to Julie.
All right. Thank you so much, Eric, Rob, and all of our presenters today. This does conclude mTuitive's 2021 virtual event. And if you have any additional questions regarding presentations, our products, or any feedback, please email julie@mtuitive.com. And on behalf of the mTuitive team, Thank you to our customers, our partners, and all who attended our event today. We hope you have a great night. Thank you.